It was perhaps because I hated the fact that my father had abandoned the child of a young 16-year-old high school girl who had conceived with a circus boy in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the south-central part of the United States. A baby boy was born to this girl when she was 17 years old. That baby boy was Jeff Bezos, who would go on to become the CEO of Amazon.com and the world's richest man, but at that time, he was still known as Jeff Lee Jorgensen. When the neighbors found out that Jeff Bezos' mother was pregnant, they began to look at her differently, with some saying she was bringing shame. Even Jeff Bezos, who is known for being a devoted son, admitted that it was not a glamorous event, despite his future success. Bezos' father, Ted Jorgensen, was a complete alcoholic. Bezos' parents left him to marry a teenage girl who miraculously cried but didn't recognize him. Bezos' mother, who reluctantly married his father, ran off within a year, leaving the two of them alone. By 2014, Jeff Bezos was already a rising star in the United States. If you recall, his father, Ted Jorgensen, had opened a car dealership in Phoenix and had been operating it for 40 years, living there ever since. The contrast between Jeff Bezos' lakeside mansion in Seattle and the modest house his father had lived in for decades is not only striking but also tragic. Ted didn't even know how to use a computer and had never heard of Amazon. When a reporter informed him that his son was now one of America's richest men and asked, "Do you ever regret abandoning Jeff Bezos?" The 69-year-old Ted sighed deeply and replied, "I'm guilty. I made a big mistake, and I probably hated my father for abandoning me." As a result, Bezos never once spoke publicly about his father, Ted. He said, "I've never seen him, and the only time I ever thought about him was when a doctor at the hospital asked me to fill out a form." Ted, who was dying from pulmonary organ enlargement, expressed a desire to see his son one last time before he died. He didn't want any money from Bezos. He just wanted to apologize for being so late so many years, and then shake his hand. He wanted to say, "You know, I used to change your diapers. You've had a really great life." But Bezos didn't give him that chance. The old man died in 2015, never getting to see his son before he passed away. Perhaps Bezos still harbored some resentment towards him. What do you think of this news? Let's expand on this and return to the main story of Bezos' parents' divorce. If Bezos' mother had been just a child herself when she married, how could she have afforded to raise a child when she couldn't even take care of herself? At the height of their poverty, they had only one bed left in the house. Fortunately, Bezos' grandfather was very fond of his grandson. When Bezos' grandfather was young, he worked for the American Atomic Energy Commission, but retired early due to health reasons, and bought a farm. At the age of 3, Bezos became frustrated that he was still sleeping in a crib. In his young mind, he felt that he was a big boy, or even a big man. One day, his mother noticed him holding a screwdriver and asked what he was going to do. With determination, little Bezos said he wanted to take the crib apart so he would look more like a man. That way, he thought, he'd appear more grown-up. By the time Bezos was 4 years old, his 21-year-old mother had remarried Miguel, a man who had fled from Cuba to the United States. Miguel arrived in the United States from Cuba by air at the age of 14, speaking no English. But he had already endured a lot at a young age. Miguel was a student at the University of Albuquerque, and despite his strong Spanish accent, he was kind and gentle. He accepted Bezos, who was not his own son, but showed him a love greater than that of a biological father. It was said that Bezos' mother had good judgment this time, as his kind stepfather Miguel provided the true fatherly love that Bezos lacked, giving him a happy childhood. Imagine if Bezos had indeed experienced a happy childhood. This time, his mother had found a bad man, a drunk, and a divorcee. So it's hard to say where Bezos would be now if things had gone differently. Bezos was the oldest in his family, and after his mother remarried, he gained a brother and a sister. Despite the challenges, it was a good family. It wasn't until he was 10 that Bezos learned Miguel wasn't his real father. And only at 14 did he begin to understand that he was growing up and couldn't rely on anyone else. At 14, Bezos expressed his desire to become an astronaut or a physicist when he grew up. His kind and loving stepfather, Miguel, gave him the family garage to work in. And Bezos spent his days creating interesting inventions, like a hydrographic boat made from a vacuum cleaner and a solar system from a rain umbrella. By the time he was 16, Bezos could independently install a windmill and operate a lake machine. The founder of the world's richest company, Amazon, Jeff, even helped with cattle herding. His grandfather, who had a great influence on him, taught him to figure out his own solutions to problems, which greatly honed Bezos' ability to tackle challenges independently, a trait that would pave the way for his future ventures. By the time he was a senior in high school, his family had moved to Miami. While his peers were eagerly seeking to party and make girlfriends, Bezos was already displaying an insatiable appetite for money. In his own words, he sacrificed his youth to earn money. He worked at McDonald's for less than $3 an hour, but Bezos always saw the value in the experience. It was during this time that he realized the importance of getting a product from the producer to the consumer as quickly as possible, without it breaking. He felt that his time in the workplace gave him a deep understanding of the importance of the customer and how good service could make a business thrive. Good service, he realized, could set you apart from your peers. In the eyes of his classmates, Jeff Bezos was seen as a bookworm who had fallen out of the social loop, a shy individual who struggled to connect with the opposite sex. His parents were so concerned about his social skills that they put him on the football team, hoping it would help him interact with others. By the time he graduated from high school, Bezos had already earned the highest honor available to any high school graduate in the United States, the American Test of Excellence. This recognition set him on a path to success in various fields, including business. The winners of this award are usually the best in their respective professions, such as Nobel Prize winners, artists, leaders in business, industry, or politics. Wang Lihong also won this award in 1994, and winning it out of more than 10,000 entries in the 100 contest signified that Bezos was destined for greatness, even back then. Today marks the 52nd anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing, and the world's richest man, the founder of Amazon, Jeffrey L. Bezos, is about to fulfill his childhood dream of flying into space aboard his family's New Shepard rocket. To pursue his dream of reaching the stars, he had already entrusted Amazon's CEO with the company's responsibilities half a month earlier. What most people don't realize is that more than 30 years ago, Bezos, like most ordinary people, was worried about college entrance exams and lived in a world that wasn't always so bright. Who could have imagined that he would one day have the willpower to turn his dreams into reality? Let's rewind to 1982, when Bezos enrolled in Princeton University, one of the world's most prestigious schools, where he studied computer science and graduated with honors. After graduation, he was eager to enter the workforce, where his limitless potential could be turned into wealth. Prestigious corporations such as Nokia and Intel sought his talents, but he ultimately chose a company where he could make a significant impact. After that, Bezos took a job as a vice president at a newcomer bank, and at the age of 26 he moved to a hedge fund. He didn't make the switch because they paid him well, he did it because he met a smart boss from whom he could learn. Bezos absorbed a lot from him, including how to hire talented people and run a company effectively. The board provided this young entrepreneur with the most crucial thing he needed, nurturing skills that money couldn't buy, no matter how much you had. From his days working at McDonald's in high school to his post-college decision to join a company, Bezos wasn't just thinking about a salary. Instead, he was focused on advancing his skills and gaining valuable experience. The savvy Bezos quickly recognized that learning from Walt Disney was an excellent way to understand the inner workings of a successful business. Although people believed this young man was ready to show off his skills, Bezos made another surprising decision. He wanted to get married. His friends were thrilled, but Bezos admitted he didn't know why he suddenly had this idea. They introduced him to all the nice girls they knew, and even created a long list for him to meet each one for a potential marriage. However, Bezos wasn't satisfied with any of them, which puzzled his friends. They asked, "What's the matter? She's beautiful, has long legs, a big bust, a nice figure. Why didn't any of them catch your eye?" Bezos famously responded, "I want an intelligent wife." He explained that beauty depreciates quickly. Even the most beautiful woman can only remain so for 20 years. After that, there are still many years left to live, and you need someone you can work with side by side through life's journey. So what was the attraction at that time? If it was just about looks, the cost was too high. It wasn't a good deal. Then, in 1992, at the age of 28, Bezos finally found his ideal partner, Mackenzie. They dated for a little over 3 months before getting married. At a young age, with a beautiful wife, it seemed like things couldn't get much better. But then Bezos made an unexpected decision that disrupted all that peace. He quit his job. His friends thought he was crazy, his parents were against the idea, and his boss even offered him a generous salary and a great deal of money to stay. However, Bezos said he didn't want to wait until he was older to make a list of regrets. He wanted to take advantage of his youth to make a difference because he had already been introduced to something new, the internet. This was the era of the internet. The internet was making headlines, and people were excitedly discussing how it would change lives. The number of internet users was growing at an incredible rate of 2,300% per year, and Microsoft in Seattle was booming. When Bezos saw the number 2,300, his eyes lit up as if he were looking at the money that was coming his way. He didn't just want to be an ordinary internet user. He wanted to be at the helm of this revolution. While others were exploring how to make money through the internet, Bezos wanted to sell something online. But what to sell? He created a list with dozens of products and eventually decided on books. The United States is a major publishing country with more than 130,000 different books, making them the perfect product for display and sale on the internet. Bezos decided to move his family to Seattle, choosing the location because of the large number of books available there. With no technical talent and in close proximity to several tree-hugging warehouses across the U.S. after contacting the moving company, Bezos and his wife hit the road. His mother-in-law drove them, and while on the road, he began writing business plans and making phone calls to raise startup capital to move from New York on the east coast of the United States to Seattle on the west coast. As they traveled across the country, Bezos had already made all the necessary arrangements. His parents had put up their entire life savings to support their son. Who would be the one to carry the financial burden of his business? Their investment amounted to $30 million, a significant sum for 1995, especially in a country like the United States known for its low savings rate. It was a testament to his parents' faith in him that they were able to provide this amount in the 1995 era. In a suburb of Seattle, Bezos spent 3 days taking a course on book sales before renting a garage to start his new venture. It was in that garage that he laid the foundation for what would become one of the largest companies in the world, Amazon, the nation's first online bookstore. Naming his company after a river known for its abundant life symbolized Bezos' ambition to build a vast business empire. Though his parents' $30 million provided initial support, it wasn't enough to keep the company afloat. More investment was needed, and Bezos warned potential investors that there was a 70% chance they might lose their money. Yet, it's hard not to admire the real-life job-like perseverance of Bezos. His infectious laugh, steely eyes, and inner confidence captivated investors, making them believe in his vision. They trusted the young man before them and believed he could succeed. In the beginning, the company was extremely poor. There wasn't even a decent desk in the garage. Bezos would get down on the floor with his staff, pack the books, and then personally drive them to the post office for mailing. He did all of this without an accountant, a far cry from the grandeur Amazon would eventually achieve. Bezos got his wife to help out, and despite the challenges, they eventually succeeded. Within 30 days, they received orders from all 50 states and 45 countries. This success was driven by word of mouth and a small amount of media coverage. Amazon hadn't spent a penny on advertising at the outset. Bezos believed the key to his company's success was always putting the needs of the customer first, rather than focusing on the competition. The company's early success attracted more investors, allowing Bezos to raise an additional $10 million. By 1997, 35% more households were shopping online, and Amazon's user base was growing rapidly. In the early days, Bezos installed a bell in the office that would ring every time a new order came in. Whenever it rang, the entire company would be filled with excitement and motivation. However, as orders increased, the bell became a constant sound, and Bezos eventually had to remove it because it would never stop ringing. The stock numbers were difficult to track, but they became a noise, one that signified his money was coming in. Bezos decided to take the company public, and his personal net worth rose to $1 million when the company was just 3 years old. A year later, as Amazon's stock price soared, Bezos began contemplating new ventures with the profits. He personally started sending out mailers to customers, asking them what other products they wanted to buy on Amazon. As the company expanded, Bezos realized that he could sell anything, as long as it was legal. Amazon gradually transformed from an online bookstore into a comprehensive marketplace. In just 1 year, the company's stock price increased tenfold, creating a business legend. From being worth $1 million in 1997 to accumulating a billion-dollar fortune in 1999, Bezos achieved remarkable success in just 2 years. This rise made him one of Forbes' billionaires, a testament to his ability to create and innovate, despite his vast wealth. Bezos remained humble enough to drive a beat-up Toyota and talk about spending his money on better things. What he didn't foresee was that the biggest crisis in his company's history was on the horizon. Fierce competition in the industry and the bursting of the internet bubble left Amazon nearly bankrupt. Each day, small companies were announcing closures, and Amazon's stock price plummeted from $11 to just $3 a share, eventually stabilizing at $6. The company's assets shrank by a staggering 95%. Jeff Bezos was on a downward spiral, and if the market continued to spiral out of control, he risked losing everything. But Bezos was no quitter. He was a true warrior. Even amidst chaos, he maintained his confidence. By this time, he had become the linchpin of the company, and although the stock numbers looked bleak, the business inside Amazon continued to run smoothly. Bezos began using the website's traffic to help small and medium-sized sellers set up their own online stores. Despite the industry's troubles, he managed to raise nearly $2 billion in capital from banks and investors. This infusion of funds allowed Amazon to survive the crisis. But Bezos wasn't content with just running a single website for his generation. As he rebounded, he sought even greater challenges. By 2016, Bezos made a cameo appearance in a Star Trek movie, hidden beneath CGI special effects. It was a nod to his childhood dream. when he would work with neighborhood kids on cardboard tricorders. Yet, for a world-famous entrepreneur, a movie cameo wasn't enough. As early as 2000, Bezos had secretly founded Blue Origin, a space exploration company, hoping to make space travel a reality. He envisioned a future where people could travel among the stars, taking shuttles like Zeus to new worlds. Perhaps it was the success of Amazon that fueled Bezos's belief that nothing was impossible. He believed that space travel would one day be as commonplace as buying a book online. As he once put it, just as people couldn't have imagined buying a book online and having it delivered to your door, people can't yet imagine interplanetary travel, but one day it will be done. For Bezos, achieving the impossible was only a matter of trust and determination. A reporter once joked with Bezos that he would only say, "Oh, it's okay to do that," after he had accomplished something and then presented the results for all to see. In July of 2015, Amazon released a quarterly report that became one of the most iconic milestones in its history. When the report came out, all the investors were dumbfounded. Amazon's net profit was even higher than the most profitable company in the market. People had always known that Amazon was making money, but they never imagined it was that profitable. Overnight, Amazon's stock price soared. Shareholders were stunned, their eyes wide like children's, eager to buy up Amazon's shares, hoping they could get a piece of the market. This meant that, after the market opened, Bezos would make $70 billion in 60 minutes, setting a new record for human wealth accumulation. It was a miraculous tale of rapid wealth growth in all of human history. But instead of squandering the money, Bezos wanted to make Amazon even bigger. He sought to expand the company by adding 13 million new employees. In March of 2018, Jeff Bezos surpassed Bill Gates to become the world's richest person, with a fortune of $120 billion. By 2022, as a global pandemic forced people to stay home, the demand for online shopping surged, and Bezos's personal assets reached nearly $200 billion, making him the first person in history to surpass the 1 trillion yuan mark. Looking back at his journey, from being abandoned by his biological father to a nerdy high school student to a McDonald's employee and later to an executive at a hedge fund, Bezos's rise to the top is legendary. From working at McDonald's to leading a hedge fund, from a millionaire to a multi-billionaire to the richest man in the world, and even exploring space, Bezos's ambition knew no bounds. A reporter once joked with him, "Bezos, aren't you tired of all this? You've even lost all your hair." To which Bezos quietly replied, "I'm giving all my hair to the customers." Yes, he was bald, but he was resilient. Bezos had climbed from the grassroots to become the richest man on the planet, facing countless ups and downs along the way, but always remaining driven. As soon as he accomplished one goal, he would work tirelessly towards the next. Bezos once said that success gives you a sense of pride and pleasure, but you can't dwell on success for too long, or your life will stagnate. You must always aim for new goals and greater achievements. It may seem exhausting, but when you have a passion for life and an insatiable desire to succeed, each new goal provides direction for the next stage of your journey. The hard work becomes worth it. Bezos proved through his life that perseverance is the only way forward. He believed that focusing on customers, not competitors, was the path to success. No matter how bad your background is or how tough your circumstances are, dwelling on the past will only deepen your silence. Instead, seize every opportunity around you, even the faintest glimmer of light. That small, seemingly deceptive ray might one day become the sun that lights up your entire life.